Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly meditation challenge. This week's slogan from Atisha's Lojong training, mind training, is 3 objects, 3 poisons, 3 seeds of virtue. This is one of those that might need a little bit of teasing out, because what are those things? One way I like to think about this is that we often go through life viewing whatever we encounter with one of 3 different lenses. These lenses are passion, aggression, and ignorance. So maybe you remember these glasses, maybe they still make them, where if I went out into the sun, these would become sunglasses. The lenses would just tinge over to become sunglasses. Our life is basically viewed through tinted lenses. We walk into a store and we see something we desire, a pair of shoes, and we want it, and our lens goes red. We just want that thing, and we just see through the lens of wanting, desire, passion, attachment. But then we look around and we see that there's people who are buying the last pair of shoes that we want, and we are filled with aggression, and the lens goes dark green. We just hate this person. We don't want to see them. There's a lot of anger coming up. We see them, that person, through that lens. Meanwhile, we then happen to glance to our left, and there's this vast majority of the people in the store and vast majority of the items in the store we haven't really paid any attention to, and our lens goes, let's say, gray. Ignorance. Prejudice almost, because we don't want to even deal with it. Everything else that's outside of what's going on in our storyline. So these are 3 lenses we walk around with. Very rarely are we able to rest in our own wisdom mind, at which point the lens becomes clear and we see reality for what it is. That is what this particular slogan is pointing toward. So 3 objects. The 3 objects here are the objects of our desire, the objects of our anger, and the object of our ignorance. So we might have a loved one or someone that we are crushing on, and that is an object of our desire, that person. We might have a coworker that we are really constantly annoyed by. That is the object of our anger or aggression. And then we have many, many objects of our ignorance, like the people who happen to live 3 blocks over from us and we don't even know their names. We might see them sometimes on the street, but we don't actually have any understanding of who they are and don't give them much thought. Those are objects of our ignorance. So the 3 objects, then there's the 3 poisons. The 3 poisons are desire, anger, and aggression. Desire, anger, and ignorance. Those are the 3 poisons that fuel us. There are all sorts of beautiful Buddhist depictions of the wheel of suffering, and there's the various ways that we form our identity, the various realms that we might be reborn into, and at the core of all of our suffering, there's 3 images. A rooster representing passion, a snake representing aggression, and a boar representing ignorance. These are the 3 poisons that drive all of our suffering. When we get too attached to our desire, our anger, or ignorance, we suffer. The 3 virtues, so 3 objects, 3 poisons, 3 virtues, 3 seeds of virtue. The 3 seeds of virtue are non-desire, non-anger, and non-ignorance. Pretty straightforward, right? So this is a transmutation practice. We take the things that we normally are so covetous of or want to get rid of or don't even care about, and we make them into the very objects for our virtue. So instead of getting so hung up on that person that we really want, or that item that we want, or that person that really annoys us, we drop that particular storyline around that person, and we rest with them as they are, letting our lens become clear. This is what stops our suffering. If we don't get so hooked by our desire, anger, and ignorance, if if we're able to just rest with feeling the emotion and not go down that storyline route of I need to do something, I need to fix something. In the book by Trala Rinpoche, one of the 2 books we're doing for the book club, in this particular chapter, he says, quote, "Cultivate virtue from the soil of our negative tendencies by relating to the object of our emotions in a different way," unquote. So let's look at that. Cultivate virtue from the soil of our negative tendencies. In other words, we see where our mind wants to skew negative. The comparing mind, the mind that says I have to compare myself to others, the self-aggressive mind, the mind that's fueled by prejudice. We see that, and we relate to the objects of our emotions in a different way. Which way? The way of reality, the way of things as they are. So I'll give you an example. This morning I sat down and I had a few minutes to kill, and I said, you know what I haven't done in maybe a month or 2 is look at how my books are doing. So I looked at on Amazon, I said, oh, this book is ranked well, this book is not ranked well, and this book is somewhere in between, and so on, right? So, and then I thought, well, my friend had a book that came out a couple months ago. I wonder how their book is ranked. And I noticed all of a sudden comparing mind. And I thought, okay, maybe I don't need to go down that road. Maybe I can just rest with whatever I'm feeling and not do anything else about this. So I didn't end up going down that road. So we see where our mind wants to go to negative tendencies, like comparing mind, jealousy, whatever. And we just relate to the object of the emotion itself. Oh, I read a book. Isn't that nice? I can just relate to that. There's a book out there. People seem to like it. Great. Another example. Last night, I went out and I had a drink with my girlfriend, and we were at a bar, and I wished it was quieter, but it wasn't, and there was this person with a very annoying laugh right behind us. So I wanted to just focus on my girlfriend, be there with her. I completely felt this sense of like aggression, like this passive-aggressive energy towards this annoying woman behind me who had this horrible laugh. And then somewhere in there, most of the people at the bar I didn't even notice. I mean, it was a packed bar. I didn't even notice what they were talking about or anything about them. And in that moment, I thought, oh, you know what? I can just rest with the object of what's going on right now. In this case, I can just listen to my partner. I can actually just hear what she's saying and just be with that as the object of the meditation, as opposed to all of the other things. I like this, I don't like this, I don't care about this. Just focusing on one thing. So we don't grow on the spiritual path from only having positive experiences, right? We don't grow by only spending time with people we like. We have to grow when there is someone who has an annoying laugh, or does something that puts us down, or that we feel disappointed by, whatever it might be. We have to have these obstacles in order to cultivate our bodhicitta, our open or awake heart. That's how the heart grows. That's how our ability for compassion grows. So whatever comes up, whether we love it, or hate it, or don't care about it, it's part of our path. The weekly meditation challenge for this week is to notice whenever that lens comes up. I feel very strongly attached, passionate, desirous of this thing, very strongly aggressive, angry about this thing, very strongly prejudiced or want to ignore this thing, and drop that. See if you can just for a moment rest in your own wisdom mind, rest with reality as it is. And if it's helpful, you could even just say to yourself, in the midst of whatever is coming up, this too is part of what's going on right now. It's not for us, it's not against us, it's not just part of the background, it's just part of what's going on right now. This too is part of what's going on right now. And then focus in on the object of whatever is going on. Whatever is coming up, we feel the emotion, we read the book, we taste our meal, whatever we're actually engaged in, we just engage in it fully. Dropping the lens, just engaging fully with whatever's right in front of us. So that's the weekly meditation challenge. I look forward to hearing your questions and your experience of this on the Facebook group. And if you have questions about the readings, please post them on the Facebook group. It doesn't just have to be me responding by any means. I hope we all join into a conversation about how we're experiencing these practices. So thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you soon.